doing a lot of algebra. This is going to be connecting geometry to algebra. The geometry part of this is actually very easy. Most people do wonderful on the geometry part. The part they have a problem with is the algebra. I'm going to teach this like you've never seen it before because I'm an algebra teacher also. One of the only ones that does both, actually. The only one that does algebra 1 and this at the same school, at this school. Guys, you got to be able to do both these things to be able to do this section. So ask me questions as we go if you have any. Okay, let's get started. We're going to be talking about parallel and perpendicular lines. Before we start, let's remind you, parallel lines are two lines. They're going to be in the same plane that never intersect, so they would look like this. Perpendicular lines are going to be two lines that intersect each other to form right angles. So it's basically like the lines on the floor are going to intersect, the tiles on the ceiling intersect at right angles. Anything that forms a right angle like that, those are going to be perpendicular lines. You're going to need to know the symbols for those perpendicular lines as well as, sorry, those were hurting my hand, as well as what they actually mean as far as slopes. So let's do this. Parallel lines, the symbol is two lines right next to each other. Perpendicular, the symbol is an upside down capital T. Upside down capital T. That means perpendicular. We're going to use that a lot, guys. So that's a really important symbol. It shows up in proofs and a lot of stuff we do going forward. So that's really important to know that one. Because it gives you a lot of right angles. We use it in triangles and doing all kinds. It really shows up a lot. Okay. Parallel lines, if you're going to be dealing with parallel lines, they are going to have the exact same slope as another line. So if the slope of the first one is 10, then the slope of the new one is going to have to be what? 10. That's exactly it. That is the geometry part of that concept. That's it. If it is going to be parallel, it's going to have the same slope. For perpendicular, again, the geometry part of this is not hard. Once we say it, usually people get it. Let's show you what it looks like. It's going to be opposites, reciprocal slopes. Now, I'm going to let you write that down, and then we're going to talk about what that is, because I'm going to suggest you write down a little note to yourself on the outside. Guys, opposite reciprocal slopes are a fancy way to say that it's going to change the sign and flip the number over. So I would write a little note to yourself. Change sign, flip number over. Change sign, flip number over. That's like with the door closed, somebody's that loud. Change signs, flip the number over. Okay, guys, so if I had negative 2/3, and I want to take that and I wanted to make it perpendicular, I would flip it over and change the sign. What would the new slope be? 3x. 3/2. Either way to say it is perfectly fine. 3/2. Okay. Also, guys, let's just remind you, now this is again old algebra that someone may not have taught you enough of, or you did it in COVID year, or whatever it was, you didn't pay attention enough. There's also these extra special kind of lines that look like this. There's a line that goes this direction. That's called a Hoy line. Guys, what's that H stand for in Hoy? Horizontal. I'm going to write that down. You're going to want that because it's going to matter. It also has a 0 slope. Again, that's going to matter. And it is always y equals a number. Just y equals a number. If it's y equals 5, that is a horizontal line. Y equals -3, that's a horizontal line. Y equals a number is a horizontal line. Why does that matter? Because if you want something perpendicular to that, you would need a line that goes this way. The acronym that goes with that is BUCKS. You can tell who had me. Okay. Bucks. What does bucks stand for? Vertical. What does the U in in bucks stand for? Ooh, I got ya. Thought I heard it, but I can't, no one will say it loud enough. Guys, it's talking about the slope. The slope is actually undefined. I'm not going to get too crazy into it, but it means there's a zero on the bottom of the fraction, and since you can't divide by zero, it makes it undefined. There's no run. Vertical lines don't ever run, so there's zeros on the bottom. Okay? And then the last thing is it's always going to be x equals a number. X equals a number. Okay, guys. So, if you have one that's hoi, in order to be perpendicular, you would need one that is bucks. So, vertical and horizontal lines are perpendicular to each other. If you have one of each. Now, if you have two hoi lines, they're both going to be what to each other? Parallel. If you have two bucks lines, they would be what to each other? Parallel. If you have one of each, they're going to be what? Perpendicular. There you go. Here we go. If you start off with a slope of -4 and you want a line that is parallel to this, what would the slope of the new line be for parallel? -4, because it's got to be exactly the same. -4. Good. If you wanted a line that is perpendicular to that, perpendicular, okay, we have to turn it over. Guys, what number is really underneath there? Oh, no, no, no. What number is underneath every whole number? 1. 4 over 1. It's -4 over 1. And when you turn it over, it's going to become what? 1/4, and it is now positive. 1/4, and it is now positive. That's the geometry, guys. Can you tell me the new slopes? All the rest of the stuff we do the rest of the day today is algebra. Okay, here we go. If it's 3 over 7 and we want parallel, what would the new slope be? 3 over 7. What would it be if we're looking for the lines to be perpendicular to each other? -7 over 3. Got to change the sign and flip it over. Change the sign and it's called opposite reciprocal slopes. Opposite means change the sign. Reciprocal means flip it over. Alright, last one, guys. If you've got a zero slope and you're looking for it to be parallel, that's going to be another zero slope. If you want it to be perpendicular and you want the new slope, guys, first of all, zero slope means that it's going this way. So if you wanted it perpendicular, you needed to go this way. So what's the slope of something that goes this way?
20.
Undefined. Undefined. Hoi and Bucks lines are like the exception. Now they are going to be the shortest problems on your test, and if you know them, you'll be great. If you don't know them, there's no way to fix it. So you need to do something to learn the Hoi and Bucks stuff, guys. I'm telling you, it will make your life better. Okay, guys. I already wrote down and said this. Vertical and horizontal lines are perpendicular. We already talked about if you have two of one or two of the other, they're parallel. Let's keep going, guys. Okay, from here, let's start doing some algebra, and then we'll apply it to the geometry. This is old algebra that you've done. Now, this formula is actually on your formula sheet. To find slope, when you have 2 points, it is going to be the formula y minus y over x minus x. Y minus y over x minus x. Now, you can put it as 2, 1 or 1, 2. It doesn't matter as long as it goes 2, 1 on the top, it goes 2, 1 on the bottom. If it goes 1, 2 on the top, it's got to go 1, 2 on the bottom. Doesn't matter. Always, guys, what letter always goes on the top when you're dealing with slope? Y. Every time. Y. Y is always on the top. Here we go. This is what it looks like. These would be your y's, so I would put -4 minus 2 over, and then I would do my x's on the bottom. My x's are the ones that are squiggled, so it's going to be -4 minus negative 1. Guys, before you do anything, do y'all see the double negative? Get rid of it. A double negative is really a positive. Okay, you have a calculator will do this for you, so use it. Negative 4 minus 2 more would put you at what? Negative 6. For the next one, negative 4 plus 1 would put you at what? Negative 3. Guys, use your calculator. That's what it's there for. Okay? A negative divided by a negative is a positive. And guys, what's 6 divided by 3? 2. That is my slope. Okay, that's the algebra. Now the geometry part of this question is, now that you know the slope is 2, if you wanted to find the slope of a line parallel to that, what would the new slope be? 2. If you wanted a line perpendicular to that, what would the new slope be? Whoa, negative 1 over 2. You got to get the negative because it was originally positive. Alright? John, when you go, you got to be faster than that. Okay? Come on. Okay, here we go. Find the slope of a line from a picture, guys. This is like problem numbers 1 and 2. You're going to see these on problem numbers 1 and 2. The first two problems use this formula. Slope equals, do y'all remember what it is from a graph? Ooh, thank you. Rise over run. Nicely done. Rise over run. Rise over run. Guys, this is about just going from dot to dot. All you do is this. You're going to take and you're going to go from this point. You're going to go, oh, that's not dark enough. Let me change colors. You're going to go from here and you're going to go up and you are going to go over. Okay? Count blocks. How many blocks did I go up? 6. How many blocks did I go over?
4.
I think it's 4. Let me check. Yeah, because you start here and you go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, because I went to the left, guys, if I'm going to the left, what kind of number is that? Negative, so that's going to be a negative 4. If I went to the right, it would become a positive, just so we know that. Up and to the left is negative, up and to the right is positive. Negatives over here, positives over here. Alright? So, we write our slope, 6 over negative 4. Now, I know you can reduce this in your head, but I need you to be able to do other numbers when you get the calculator when you're doing your homework. So, grab your calculators, let's type this. Last period, I had somebody come up to me and they admitted they didn't know where the calculator button was, and they thought I'd be upset with them. Guys, please listen to me. If you can't use a calculator, you're not going to make it through this class. We're going to do trig and all kind of fancy things with these, with the sine, cosine, and tangent buttons on here. You can't do it without your calculator. Just go. Okay? So please listen to me. You need to know how to use it. Come ask me when you get done. If we're still done and you can't do it, ask me. Come see me. Okay, here we go, guys. So type 6 fraction button negative, oh wait, pause, hold on. Why can't you do that? It won't let you put what on the bottom of a fraction? We got to put the negative on the top. So even though it's on the bottom, we're going to clear it out. We're going to put it on the top. We're going to type it like this. We're going to type negative 6 fraction button 4 equals. It's going to give you a mixed number, right? It's like negative 1 and 1/2. You're going to hit second fraction button equals. Should give you negative 3 over 2. Anybody have a question about where any of those buttons are? Any of them you don't know? Again, you can always come see me one-on-one and I will walk through it with you after we get done. Yes, sir. Absolutely. It looks like this. It is the A, B, C button. A, B, C. Yes, sir. Absolutely. It's going to be clear it out. Hit the negative sign, not the minus sign, guys, the negative sign. That's the one inside the box that's got the parentheses around it with the little negative in the middle of it. So it's going to be negative 6 fraction button 4 equals, then second fraction button equals. Any questions still? If you still don't get -3/2, when we get done, come see me one-on-one. I'll walk through it with you. Just wait till we're done and I'll literally go through the whole problem with you. Okay, here we go. If the slope's gonna be parallel to that, what's the new slope gonna be? Yeah? -3/2. It's exactly the same, guys. If the slope's gonna be perpendicular, what's the new slope gonna be? 2/3. That's it. That's the geometry. The bottom part is easy. It's the algebra that you gotta make sure you remember how to do it. Any questions? Okay, let's go on to the next thing. I just want to give you some time to ask questions before you get out of here. Bless you. This is a longer set of notes, so here we go. To find out if these are parallel, perpendicular, or neither, we're going to look at these two lines. To look at these two lines, and how do we know what letters to put together? They told us what two letters to put together right here. We're going to find the slope for these two, and we're going to find the slope of these two, and we are going to compare them. It's just the same thing we just did on the graph, but instead of having a graph, we have to do it with points. To do it with points, we use that formula. Y minus y, so it'd be 2 minus -3. I'm doing the y's here. And then the x's, so it would be 4 minus 6. Okay, I've got a double negative. The first thing I'm going to do is get rid of that double negative and make it positive. When I do, it's just 2 plus 3. Guys, 2 plus 3 is what? 5. What is 4 minus 6? -2. So there's my fraction. That's my slope. Notice I'm not going to spend forever on this, guys. Don't make them take longer than they need to. Here we go on the next one. My x's go together. It's going to be 5 minus 10. And on the bottom, the y's go together. And that's going to be -1 minus -3. Y'all see the double negative? Get rid of it. So for the top, guys, what is 5 minus 10? -5. What is -1 plus 3? 2. Okay, so guys, first of all, does it matter if the negative's on the top or bottom?
No.
So are they exactly the same? And if they're exactly the same, what's true about these lines? They're parallel. They're parallel. Okay. You ready for the back? Aren't we on the back now? Okay, flip it over. Yes, this is an involved set of notes. There's too much information. I could just do one example of each and not give you enough to see it, but yeah, we have a lot of notes on this because there's a lot of material. It's not the new stuff either, guys. It's the algebra that takes up the time on this. I'm telling you. This is mostly algebra. Okay, so from here, again, we're doing F and G, H and J, so we're doing these two and these two. We need to find slope. Guys, this should not take you that long. You take the y's, 13 minus 0. You take the x's, it's going to be 14 minus -11. The double negative turns into a positive. And what would your answer be for that side? 13 over what, I'm sorry? 25. Perfect. See how quick we just did that. For the other side, it's going to be y minus y, which would be 7 minus 5, over x minus x, which would be -3 minus -4. That double negative would turn into a positive. So the top of your fraction, 7 minus 5, would be what? 2. What is -3 and +4? 1. But guys, 2 over 1 reduces down to what? 2. Okay, look at those two. Are they the same? Are they even close to being reciprocals? No. And they're not opposite of each other either. So what would the answer be? I love hearing how people say it. Neither, neither. I always don't answer that one so I can hear y'all say it. Okay, guys, this is what most lines in the world are going to be like. Two lines that intersect, they're regular lines, they go through each other, they hit not at right angles. That's neither. That's what most lines in the world are to each other. Okay, most will be neither. Neither. Hard to say. Okay. Questions about that one? Make sure everybody gets a chance to write it down. Okay, the next one introduces the equation of a line, guys. Here we go. Let's make sure you remember these. So for this one, the only one we need to start off with is slope-intercept form. What is slope? And it's not on your formula sheet, guys. Intercept form look like? Y equals mx plus b. You need to know that form to be able to do this assignment. So please write that down. You're going to need another form in a minute to do the other part, the last problems. Okay, here we go. Look at example 8, and this first example is already in slope-intercept form. What is the only number out of this that we care about when we're talking about parallel, perpendicular, or neither?
1/3.
Why is the 1/3? That's correct, but why is the 1/3 the only thing we care about? That's the what? So y'all are saying it different ways, but yes, that's the slope. That's going to decide if it's parallel, perpendicular, or neither. I don't care about the two. It doesn't affect my answer in any way, shape, or form. The second problem is in a form, another form, not this one, that also starts with an S. What form is that? Ooh, no. Wait, what was it? That's one that, but that doesn't start with an S. That's one, the other one we're going to use on the next slide. We've already got that one. That's this one. I thought I heard it somewhere quietly. It's called standard form. Standard form. She got it right as I said it. Standard form. AX plus BY equals C. Because it's not in slope-intercept, we can't get a slope out of it. So we're going to take and we're going to solve this by minusing 2x from both sides. It's going to make it negative 6y is equal to, guys, when you have a variable and a non-variable, you always put the variable in front. So negative 2x minus 5. Then to get this in slope-intercept form, the last thing we would do is divide by whatever is in front of our x. It doesn't matter if it makes fractions. You've got to cancel both those things out to get just y by itself. That's what you're trying to do, is get y equals. The negatives cancel out of here. Guys, what's 2 over 6 reduced to? 2 over 6. Type it in your calculator. 2 fraction minus 6 equals. Should be 1/3 x. And then the negatives cancel out here, so it's going to be plus. Guys, 5 over 6 doesn't reduce. It's literally just 5 over 6. Okay, here we go. So we have this, we have this, and we have this. We've got this one 1/3, this one 1/3. What kind of lines are they? Parallel. They're the exactly the same slope, so they are parallel, if I could spell. There we go, parallel. I knew I'd get it. Okay, the next one, they're both in slope-intercept form already. They're not, this is not hard, guys. You've got negative 1/3 and you've got negative 3. You got to decide parallel, perpendicular, neither. Are they exactly the same? So parallels out. Are they opposite reciprocals of each other?
No.
No, they are reciprocals, but they're not what?
Opposite.
Not opposite. So because they are not because they are not opposite reciprocals of each other, they are not perpendicular, which makes them what? Neither, neither. Now, guys, what would the slope of the second line be if it was going to be perpendicular to the first one? It would be positive 3. It would have to be a positive 3 right here. Good. Okay, guys, what kind of line has just an X? Bucks. And Bucks lines go what direction? Vertical. What kind of line has just a Y in it? Hoy. And Hoy lines go what direction? And if you have one of each, what are they going to be to each other? Perpendicular. Takes longer to write the word than it does to say what they are. Find out what they are. That word's long. Okay, questions? Good. Okay, the only thing we have left is like problem numbers, I think it's like 4 and 5, well, it's not the fourth problem, but 4 and 5 on your homework, and then on the back you'll see a couple more of those on 9 and 12. We don't have a lot of problems today, because I knew the notes would be longer, but you're going to have to be able to do these, guys. These are on your test. This is something they ask every year on the EOC, so it's going to involve another form of an equation that you need to know. It was already mentioned. It's called point slope form. Does anybody remember what it looks like? It's the long one. Oh. No. I always get somebody and then everybody kind of, here it is. Y minus y1 equals m times, in parentheses, x minus x1. Listen to me. I would add that to your formula sheet. You can't add it to the one we use for the test, but at least you can work on learning it, because you're going to need this. It shows up randomly, not like every day. That's not one of those. I tell you when it's one of those. But it does show up randomly throughout the year. And this is always on the EOC. They love this stuff, guys. We're going to use this to solve from this down to y equals mx plus b. Why do we need this? Because we're going to be given a point and we're going to be given a slope. And if you have a point and a slope, you've got to use point slope form. Okay? So let's talk about this problem. You have to go through this point and it has to be parallel to this line. Guys, if it's parallel, then the slopes have to be what? The same. So I'm going to use y, because the formula has a y in it, and I'm going to subtract whatever is here. But guys, minus a negative 2, how do you write minus negative 2? Plus 2. Y'all, it's always the opposite of whatever this is. If you'll just remember, it's the opposite of whatever these are. That's what you put in the formula. Equals your slope, which is 1/2, and then it's going to be parentheses x, and then you're going to put the opposite of whatever is up here for your x for the point. So instead of writing plus 4, you're going to write minus 4 or negative 4. It doesn't matter how you say that. Now, this is the point slope form of that equation. We need it to be slope intercept though. So we're going to have to solve it by multiplying across. It's going to make it y plus 2 come down. Don't do anything to it. Yeah.
Do we just not use the -7?
Oh, very good question. No, the -7 is not used for anything. That is the y-intercept on the other line, and it does not affect whether they're parallel at all. It is literally ignored. Just like we ignored it when we were doing this part, and we just didn't even look at that. It's the same concept. We're not using that part of it at all. Good question. All right? 1/2 times x is going to be 1/2 x minus, guys, we don't need a calculator for this, right? What's 1/2 of 4? 2. Like that. 2. Then the last thing is going to be minus 2 minus 2. Now I can't say it normal. And y equals 1/2 x minus, guys, negative 2 and negative 2 is a total of negative 4. Use your calculator to do it. Type negative 2 minus 2. It'll give you negative 4. That's it. How do I know that line is parallel to my original line up here? They have the same slope. Same slope. Perfect. Okay, guys. We got the last one's perpendicular. Same thing but perpendicular. Okay, let's do the same thing, guys. Just another chance to practice the same problem. Okay, here we go. For perpendicular, the one thing I will say is we're still using this point, but now we need a slope that is perpendicular to this. So I would come over here, and since this is 7/2, what is the opposite reciprocal of 7/2? Negative 2/7. That's the opposite reciprocal. So I'd box it in so you know that's what you're using. Why do I know to do that? Because it asks for perpendicular instead of parallel. Okay, guys, here we go. When you set it up, how would you write this first part? You tell me. y plus 1. The reason it's a plus, it's always the opposite of what's here. Since it was negative 1, we write a plus 1. Equals what? That was lovely. Negative 2 over 7. Then your parentheses. What goes inside of your parentheses? X what? Minus 4. It's minus 4 because this was positive 4, and it's always the opposite of whatever's up there. From there, you're going to want your calculators. You're going to distribute the negative 2/7 across. It's going to bring down the y plus 1 without changing anything. Guys, listen to me. When you multiply a number times a variable, it's just put it next to each other. So negative 2/7 times x is just negative 2/7 x. But now we need to multiply negative 2/7 times negative 4 on the calculator. Get to your calculator. Come on, guys. I need everybody trying this so they can do this when they do their homework. Okay, type negative 2 fraction button 7 times negative 4 equals. Now it's going to be a mixed number, so you're going to have to do second fraction button equals. Should give you positive 8 over 7. Perfect. Don't clear out your calculator, because you're just going to minus 1, which makes it y equals negative 2/7 x. And if you do it correctly, it should be plus 1/7. Try doing minus 1 on your calculator, see if you get 1/7. We good? Any issues? Okay. That's your notes for today, guys. Let's get you working some.